more genuine than this moment. The group exited the restaurant, chatting and laughing, hailing taxis in pairs, planning to reconvene at the entrance. Jia Fan, Mickey, and Chun Xiao reached out to hail a cab, only to have another group of familiar faces intercept them. "What the hell, Wang Sangju?" Mickey shouted. Wang Sangju turned around, his brow furrowing as he took a breath to speak, but upon seeing Chun Xiao, his expression soured considerably. Jia Fan discreetly positioned himself to shield half of Chun Xiao's frame. Their 3 against the 5 or 6 opponents suggested an impending confrontation. As seasoned veterans, the trio felt no fear. Retreat was not an option, and the only choice was to strike harder. Chun Xiao maintained his composure. His security team was nearby, and if they failed to notice the brewing situation, they deserved to be dismissed. Upon spotting Chun Xiao, Wang Sangju instinctively clenched his fists, contemplating whether to take action. Suddenly, a group of imposing men in suits appeared behind Chun Xiao, their expressions radiating menace. Wang Sangju involuntarily relaxed his fists and instructed his companions, "Let us not take the cab after all." With that, he changed direction and departed. Jia Fan was perplexed. Hey, how could that scoundrel Wang Sangju let such a fine opportunity slip away? Chun Xiao replied with a smile. Perhaps he has lost his mind. "Let us go." The 3 then climbed into a car and set off. This minor incident did not dampen their spirits. They continued to sing until the early hours of the morning, concluding the evening's gathering around 1 o'clock. The boys planned to escort Xiao Yu and a few other girls home, while Jia Fan and Mickey decided to head to an internet CAF for an all-nighter, and the rest dispersed. Huan Yu called a taxi and shouted to Chun Xiao, "Come on, Xiao Zi, you go ahead. I'll wait for the next one." Chun Xiao replied, "Stop being polite, hurry up." The enthusiastic Huan Yu pushed Chun Xiao into the car and tossed 5 yuan to the driver. "Let us go, driver." Chun Xiao was at a loss for words, treating it as yet another opportunity to indulge in nostalgia. Although within the county, the fare to any destination was merely 5 yuan, this did not extend to Lanshan Villa, which lay beyond the county limits, approximately 5 or 6 kilometers away. "Young man, 5 yuan is insufficient. I need at least 20 to make the return trip," he remarked. Chun Xiao chuckled. "All right, let's go." His master appeared quite pleased, exclaiming, "Ah, splendid." Subsequently, a vehicle, followed by 2 Land Rovers, set off toward South Lanshan. However, as they drove, the driver grew increasingly anxious and halted the vehicle halfway. "Young man, I can't proceed. 2 cars have been trailing me. Wherever I turn, they turn as well. Now that I've stopped, they too have come to a standstill. I feel as though they are plotting against me," he confessed. Chun Xiao, feeling a bit cramped in the confined space, replied, "Pull over. I will handle them." The driver hesitated momentarily, but Chun Xiao was insistent. Contemplating the prospect of a reckless youth drawing attention, the driver complied and parked on the side of the road, quietly observing the situation through the rearview mirror. Before he could utter a word, the young man approached the other vehicle, only to be swiftly seized by 2 burly men who emerged from it. "What the hell? Are they going to silence him?" the driver exclaimed, flooring the accelerator. The engine roared to life, and he sped away, leaving a cloud of dust in their wake. Consequently, for many years thereafter, he did not accept any orders outside the city. Halfway through his journey, the bodyguard, perplexed, returned with 15 yuan. "Boss," the taxi driver fled. "What about the fare?" he inquired. "Forget it," Chun Xiao replied. "He collected 5 yuan anyway. It won't cover the fuel costs. Let us head home." That night, Lanshan Villa was enveloped in tranquility, yet illuminated by brilliant lights. Apart from the on-duty bodyguard, most had succumbed to slumber. Upon arriving, Chun Xiao quietly ascended to his room, grateful not to disturb Wang Li, for otherwise he would have faced her incessant nagging after her late-night drinking spree. The following morning, he awoke at 10 o'clock, greeted by a news article that momentarily stunned him before a smile broke across his face. One of the 3 major cotton-producing regions, located in the lower reaches of the Yellow River, is set to experience heavy rainfall within the next week, posing a risk of reduced cotton production this year. "Ha, Shi Zhongfu. This is not a personal vendetta against you. Even the heavens cannot bear your villainy any longer. With a reduction in cotton output and a subsequent decrease in supply, prices are bound to rise." Opening the futures market chart, he saw that the prices had indeed surged at the opening. Some rejoiced, while others lamented. Those who had bet on rising cotton prices were invigorated, while those who had shorted cotton were engulfed in despair. In Shi Zhongfu's trading room, the atmosphere had become stifling. After investing half a month's worth of resources to disseminate negative news and spending considerable wealth to undermine market confidence, the impending storm had washed away their efforts. Xing Yanqing's expression was equally grim. Though the trading failure was due to weather conditions, the villa promised by the boss, Benhai Yuyuan, had undeniably slipped from his grasp. Alas, the distance to attain Sun Ying's affections had grown even more daunting. Upon reflection, Xing Yanqing found himself in a more distressing predicament than Shi Zhongfu. Meanwhile, Chun Xiao indulged in an extra bowl of rice during lunch, not merely due to the modest gains from the futures market, but rather because he relished the misfortune befalling both Shi Zhongfu and Xing Yanqing, which brought him greater joy than profit itself. 2 days later, Chun Xiao reaped a staggering profit of 2.4 billion from the futures market, accumulating a total of 41.4 billion, which, of course, included his previous earnings of 3.9 billion, a portion of which had already been allocated to the acquisition of shares in the Ocean Group. While Chun Xiao was unaware of the exact magnitude of Shi Zhongfu's losses, it was certain they surpassed his own profits. After concluding the cotton futures transactions, Chun Xiao prepared to embark on his journey to Shishu. While at home, he felt little apprehension, but upon hearing of his impending departure, Wang Li was immediately overcome with reluctance. With countless reminders and heartfelt admonitions, her concern was palpable. After several assurances regarding his health and safety, as well as promises to call home regularly, Chun Xiao boarded his flight to Shishu. There, not only awaited his friends, including Tang Xiaofei, but also Xia Yudi, who eagerly anticipated his arrival. Chapter 165. Chun Xiao, how experienced you are. On the aircraft, Chun Xiao reviewed his recent achievements. His investment in the Ocean Group had reached 1.5 billion. Through a separate, discrete channel of operations, he had managed to earn a modest profit of 20 to 30 million over the past 2 days. Although progress was gradual, it remained stable. Utilizing his own funds, and given the substantial size of the Ocean Group, far from the point of needing to raise stakes, he had successfully kept his stock acquisitions under the radar, thus avoiding unnecessary disturbances. At present, Chun Xiao's entire fortune could procure approximately 57 shares of the Ocean Group. While he was still a considerable distance from being a true magnate, he enjoyed the freedom of operating unrestrained, with full agency over his actions. As Xiong Chao would put it, he was a king of cash, truly impressive. The aircraft landed at Shuangliu Airport in Shucheng, where Tang Xiaofei and others, along with Xia Yudi, awaited his arrival. Upon spotting Chun Xiao, Xia Yudi disregarded the presence of onlookers, calling out his name and sprinting towards him. She leaped into his arms, wrapping her slender legs tightly around his waist. "You naughty rascal, did you miss me?" she teased. "Of course I did. Isn't that why I came to see you?" Chun Xiao replied. "Oomph." Xia Yudi pouted adorably. "All right, I'll take that as a yes." Tang Xiaofei and the others looked on with envy, not only admiring Chun Xiao's wealth, but also the beautiful women around him, each more stunning than the last, and all treating him exceptionally well. "Tang Mengzi Chaozi, it's been a while." Chun Xiao greeted his friends. "With so many gorgeous girls waiting for you, how could you forget us, your brothers?" They bantered. After exchanging pleasantries, the group of 10 exited the airport. Chun Xiao, accompanied by 2 subordinates and Xia Yudi, was joined by the others, each bringing along a driver or bodyguard. Tang Xiaofei and the others had prepared their off-road vehicles for the trip to Xizang, including Chun Xiao's, all professionally and legally modified with chassis armor, bulletproof tires, and luggage racks, among other enhancements. Lao Lu handed over the keys as Lei Yong placed the luggage in the trunk and then took his seat in the front passenger side. Chun Xiao and Xia Yudi settled into the back seat. "Chun Xiao, I want to join you on your outing," Xia Yudi exclaimed brightly. "Sure, let's go together. But do your parents approve?" Chun Xiao inquired. "They're not home at all. I can go wherever I please," Xia Yudi replied cheerfully. "Wait, they're not home?" A thought suddenly struck Chun Xiao. "What's wrong?" Xia Yudi asked, puzzled. "Ahem, since your uncle and aunt are away, shall we head to your place?" Xia Yudi was momentarily taken aback. She had never considered such a thrilling prospect. "What? Am I not welcome? Then let us go to a hotel." "Ah, who said you weren't welcome? I just meant I'm heading home." Xia Yudi hesitated for a moment, but eventually made up her mind. In the front seat, Lao Lu and Lei Yong were focused on the road ahead, their initiative frozen, choosing to feign deafness. Upon arriving at the hotel, Tang Xiaofei and the others were puzzled to find Chun Xiao missing. "Damn it, how can our driver be so incompetent? He can't even keep up? I'll call him," Zhang Meng said. "Hello, Brother Xiao, where are you?" We've arrived at the hotel. "You're not lost, are you?" "Ha, with such a beautiful girl. Who would go to a hotel? I'm already home. See you tomorrow." Chun Xiao laughed. "Damn it." Zhang Ming hung up the phone, looking disheartened. "What's wrong? Where's Xiao?" Tang Xiaofei asked. "Damn it, why do I even bother asking? Let us go." "Where to?" "To the bar to find some girls." I can't take it anymore. The group proceeded to Xia Yudi's residence, situated in a rather pleasant neighborhood, featuring 3 rooms and 2 living areas, spanning over 130 square meters. The apartment was generally clean and tidy, though slightly disorganized. It was evident that it had been tidied up, only to be disrupted by a mischievous little cat, leaving chaos in its wake. Xia Yudi felt a bit embarrassed. I missed you too much and didn't have time to clean. Don't worry, it will only get messier later. We can tidy up together then, Chun Xiao replied. You big pervert. I'm gonna take a shower first. Sure, Chun Xiao nodded, instinctively reaching for a cigarette only to stop himself. After over 3 hours without smoking since boarding the plane, his throat and airways felt as if countless ants were crawling inside, causing an unbearable discomfort. Chun Xiao took a few deep breaths, suppressing the urge to smoke. He opened the refrigerator, grabbed a can of chilled soda, and downed it, which somewhat alleviated his discomfort. Surveying the surroundings, he noticed one room was a study, another was quite conventional, and the last was adorned with anime posters, clearly Xia Yudi's room. Chun Xiao stepped inside. Lying on the bed, where a familiar fragrance enveloped him. It was undoubtedly Xia Yudi's scent. Suddenly, he heard the sound of keys jingling. Oh no, could it be that Xia Yudi's parents have returned? There was no time to ponder, as the sound of the key turning in the lock had already begun. If they discovered a strange man in their daughter's room while she was showering in a rush. Chun Xiao dashed out to retrieve his shoes and swiftly crawled under the bed, listening intently to the unfolding situation. Outside, he could hear a conversation between a man and a woman. Woman, oh, I am utterly exhausted. Thankfully, this meeting concluded a few days earlier. I have truly had enough. Man, how could it be that tiring? I carried all the luggage myself. Just as I began to speak, he quickly changed his tone. All right, you're tired. Go take a shower and rest early. Woman, humph, your precious daughter is still in the shower. I shall wait. Just then, the bathroom door swung open, and Xia Yudi cheerfully exclaimed, Darling, woman, you silly girl, why aren't you in your pajamas? Why are you just in your underwear? Who do you think your darling is? Xia Yudi was momentarily at a loss. Everything had been fine before her shower, yet now the world had turned upside down. Where is Chun Xiao? Ah, cough. Dear mother, I miss you so much. Smack. Quickly go put on some clothes. This is unacceptable. Bang. Xia Yudi dashed into the bedroom, shutting the door behind her with a sigh of relief, her heart still racing as she patted her ample chest. Then she rummaged through drawers, searching for Chun Xiao. Chun Xiao crawled out slightly from under the bed. I'm here, Xia Yudi whispered. Chun Xiao, what should we do? They returned early. Chun Xiao replied, Stay calm. First, give me something to cushion my head. The floor is too hard. I'll get you a pillow. A pillow won't do. What if your parents come in and notice it's missing? Bring me a stuffed toy. Xia Yudi glanced at the shoes Chun Xiao had brought in and his composed demeanor. Oh, Chun Xiao, you are quite experienced. Chapter 166. Why are there so many cockroaches in the house? Chun Xiao was speechless, thinking to himself that he had no experience at all. It was his first time being cornered by his girlfriend's parents. He was merely maintaining his calm in a challenging situation. This predicament was quite troublesome. They couldn't simply let the bodyguards burst in to seize him. They could only wait for an opportunity. It seemed they would have to wait until Xia Yudi's parents fell asleep before they could leave. Having grasped the crux of the matter, Chun Xiao no longer felt anxious. Instead, he pulled out his phone and set it to silent mode, immersing himself in a game. Xia Yudi, however, was not as composed. Her mind was restless. Even during dinner, she was distracted, prompting her mother, Su Tian, to inquire multiple times, utterly perplexed. What on earth was wrong with her daughter? She seemed as if she had lost her soul. Finally, the evening arrived. Chun Xiao felt no particular discomfort, except for his urgent need to use the restroom, which was becoming unbearable. While accompanying her parents in the living room watching television, Xia Yudi received a message from Chun Xiao. After a moment of inner turmoil, she stood up and said, I'm so tired. I'm going to sleep. Please turn down the TV. Su Tian, you silly girl. You usually watch the latest. Today, you are the one telling us to lower the volume. Despite her complaints, she did lower the TV's volume slightly. Xia Yudi returned to her room and closed the door tightly. Chun Xiao poked his head out and asked, Can I find a chance to go to the restroom? Xia Yudi, no, you have to cross the living room to get there. My parents are still in the living room. Just then, the television in the living room went silent. Chun Xiao's heart leapt with joy, signaling Xia Yudi to check the situation. She leaned against the door and listened for a moment, realizing that there seemed to be no movement outside. The door cracked open slightly, revealing an empty living room. Her parents had retreated to their bedroom. Xia Yudi contemplated for a moment. Venturing out now would surely attract attention. However, A trip to the restroom should pose no problem, right? Chen Xiao, come out quickly. I'll take you to the bathroom, she called. Is that all right? Chen Xiao replied hesitantly. Don't worry. You and T want to hold it in, Xia Yudi reassured him. Chen Xiao wriggled out from under the bed, letting out a sigh of relief. Lying on the floor for hours had been quite uncomfortable. The two then stealthily exited the bedroom. In the living room, the voices of Xia Yudi's parents could be heard from the adjacent bedroom, creating an atmosphere thick with tension. Nevertheless, they successfully reached the restroom, allowing their taut nerves to relax a bit. After Chen Xiao took care of his business, they were about to retrace their steps when, unexpectedly, the television in the living room blared to life again. Xia Yudi's eyes widened in alarm. Oh no, we're trapped. While they could still conceal themselves in the bedroom, where could they hide the restroom? Yudi, could you help your father choose which outfit to wear for tomorrow's business trip? Called Xia Linen. I'm in the shower. Xia Yudi responded quickly. Xia Linen, puzzled, remarked, didn't you just shower when we returned? Why are you showering again? At that moment, Xia Yudi thought on her feet. It's too hot, I'm sweating. Why don't you ask mom to help you? Xia Linen grumbled. What can your mother even choose? I trust my daughter's judgment more. Suddenly, Su Tian emerged from the bedroom. Oh, Xia Linen, so you talk behind my back. Do you? Yudi, come out and give your opinion. What is wrong with my taste? Xia Yudi quickly signaled to Chen Xiao, who understood immediately and turned on the shower. Mom, your taste is impeccable. I can't come out right now, so you two just continue your discussion in the bedroom. Outside, Mr. and Mrs. Li continued their bickering, while inside the restroom, Xia Yudi wore a face of helplessness. Surely, she couldn't remain in the shower indefinitely. Chen Xiao, however, took it all in stride. Since they were already in this predicament, they would just leave it to fate. Xia Yudi, exasperated, whispered, "Don't move around too much, or they'll hear you." The argument between her parents persisted in the living room until suddenly, a shriek erupted from the restroom. The four occupants of the house froze in place. Xia Linen and Su Tian ceased their quarrel. Yudi, what's wrong? Xia Yudi softened her tone and replied, It's nothing, just a cockroach startled me. A cockroach? Hurry, and let your mother go in and kill it. Xia Linen exclaimed. Su Tian interjected, I'm too scared. Xia Linen, incredulous, asked, You would let our daughter be frightened by a cockroach? Xia Yudi shouted, It's fine. I've already killed it. You may resume your argument. Xia Linen and Su Tian exchanged glances. Well, our daughter has grown up. She dares to battle cockroaches now, Xia Linen remarked, feeling a sense of pride. Su Tian shot him a glare, and the quarrel came to a halt. The living room fell silent, save for the sound of the shower cascading down. The droplets hit the floor with a crisp, refreshing sound. Finally, as the lights in the living room dimmed, Xia Yudi listened intently for any signs of movement outside. Once she was certain the coast was clear, she cautiously opened the door crack. To her relief, the living room was indeed empty. Two individuals, barefoot and clutching their shoes, swiftly and silently returned to the room, locking the door behind them before feeling completely at ease. How annoying, you nearly got us caught. Chen Xiao chuckled. You could have simply asked if it was thrilling. Xia Yudi shot him a glare. Be quiet for a moment. Wait until they fall asleep before you leave. All right. Chen Xiao began to meander around Xia Yudi's room, which was infused with a faint, pleasant fragrance typical of a girl's quarters. Aside from the prohibition on smoking, it was quite comfortable, imbued with a peculiar charm. Before long, the clock struck midnight, and Chen Xiao, dressed and holding his shoes, prepared to sneak out quietly. However, unexpected noises arose from the living room. What the hell? Both were startled. Chen Xiao whispered, What's going on? You hide first. I'll go check. Xia Yudi stepped out and inquired, Dad, why aren't you asleep yet? Xia Linen, clutching his pillow and blanket, replied, I would like to, but your mother kicked me out. Xia Yudi rolled her eyes, feeling exasperated. Why was this night so tumultuous? You should go to bed. I'll manage on the sofa. Reluctantly, Xia Yudi returned to her room. It's over. You can't leave tonight. My dad got kicked out by my mom and is sleeping on the sofa. Chen Xiao lamented. What a bizarre situation. He flopped on a bed. Well, it seems I'm stuck here for the night. In the dead of night, Xia Linen and Su Tian were jolted awake again. What's wrong, Yudi? Is something the matter? Xia Yudi defended herself. No, nothing's wrong. I just killed another cockroach. Su Tian, puzzled, remarked. Why are there suddenly so many cockroaches in the house? We should buy some pest control tomorrow. Xia Linen added, If I catch one, I'll smash it to pieces. Chen Xiao, who was behind Xia Yudi, shuddered at the remark. Chapter 167. Sister Qin, what are you planning? Ugh, this is all your fault. You nearly exposed us. Xia Yudi scolded playfully. Chen Xiao grinned and moved to sit at the edge of the bed. A cockroach is just a little strong, as the name suggests. Xia Yudi rolled her eyes, collapsing onto the bed. Have you been secretly training again? No. I've had very little time to exercise since returning home. Liar. Chun Xiao chuckled. I visited a mountain where an old Taoist taught me a breathing technique that can strengthen the body. Xia Yudi pouted. I don't believe you. What kind of Taoist would teach you that? It sounds too ridiculous. Chun Xiao mused. Whether Huang Banzian was serious or not, the technique was indeed quite remarkable. Could it be one of those Qigong practices I heard about as a child? Gazing at the sweet girl on the bed, Chun Xiao knew that if not for the presence of others in the house, he would undoubtedly be sleepless tonight. Xia Yudi clung to him tightly, fearful he might suddenly harbor ill intentions. Unbeknownst to her, this only intensified the opposite effect. Chun Xiao, holding the petite and adorable girl in his arms, couldn't help but feel a surge of affection. Chun Xiao, Xia Yudi's delicate voice was tinged with a hint of pleading. It's fine, I one-team move. Xia Yudi, despite having been deceived before, surprisingly believed him. After a while, she sensed something amiss. Big liar. I knew I couldn't trust you. The sound that was deliberately suppressed out of fear of being overheard by the neighbors was particularly alluring. Chun Zhao's feelings for Xia Yudi intensified rapidly. This girl had entrusted everything to him and harbored an unwavering admiration and dependence on him. In this moment, the two wished to merge into one, to fully express their love for each other. It was this very sentiment that sustained Xia Yudi until now. At 3 in the morning, Xia Yudi clung tightly to Chun Zhao's neck, her sleepy eyes barely open, yet she was reluctant to part. Chun Xiao, remember to think of me. Chun Xiao gently patted her delicate back. Of course, we still have to go to the holy city together, right? See you tomorrow. My parents are back. I might not be able to escape. Then you can leave a few days earlier for school, and I'll take you to the magic city. Well, it depends on the circumstances. What if you're busy then? After lingering for a while, they quietly held hands and tiptoed out of the bedroom, carefully opening the door and silently waving goodbye. Once on the street, Chun Xiao took a deep breath. The warm air of Shishu filled him with a sense of romance. Despite the late hour, although it was 3 in the morning, the hot pot restaurants along the street remained bustling with life. Friends laughed and chatted, couples exchanged sweet nothings, and handsome men and beautiful women radiated youthful exuberance, immersing themselves in fiery passion. Chun Xiao particularly cherished, or perhaps longed for, such vibrant scenes of life, for he had gradually distanced himself from the world of ordinary people. The individuals he interacted with, aside from a few friends, were all top-tier figures across various industries. Genuine emotions were scarce, often cloaked in layers of pretense. The most crucial bond between people was rooted in interests and wealth. Under such circumstances, finding camaraderie mixed with genuine friendship was exceedingly rare. Take Tang Xiaofei and Zhang Meng, for instance. None would jeopardize their family's interests to aid a friend. Yet this group enjoyed each other's company, casually seeking opportunities for mutual benefit. The plot of land Chan Xiao owned in the Jining Development Zone became a medium for such endeavors. Lacking the energy or desire to develop it himself, selling the interests outright wouldn't maximize his gains. Thus, collaborating with several second-generation tycoons allowed everyone to profit, with Chun Xiao reaping even greater rewards. Why not embrace this? However, aside from Chun Zhao's share, the bulk of the profits rightfully belonged to Tang Xiaofei, Zhang Meng, and Xiong Chao, but it was usurped by Yan Bingqin. Nevertheless, this was an issue between Tang Xiaofei and his associates and Yan Bingqin. It bore no relevance to Chun Xiao, who would receive his rightful portion without fail. In fact, Yan Bingqin's involvement expedited the project's completion. After strolling for a while, Chun Xiao called Lei Yong and the others to return to the hotel. This time, Tang Xiaofei and his companions had opted for a charming cultural inn near Quanzhai Alley rather than a lavish 5-star hotel. Of course, at this time, the concept of a cultural inn was not yet established, so the hotel was named Lanterns Flickering in the Night. The first floor housed an artistic bar, while the second floor contained guest rooms. The bar was bustling with a diverse crowd, filled with men and women sharing their innermost thoughts. Chun Xiao had almost left when a familiar face caught his eye, prompting him to retreat for confirmation. Indeed, it was no mistake. Upon entering, he discovered not only was Tang Xiaofei present, but also Zhang Meng and Xiong Chao. The trio appeared somewhat restrained, far from the carefree demeanor one would expect in a bar, primarily because Yan Bingqin had arrived. "Hello, long time no see," she greeted, taking a sip of her cocktail. "Ah, hello, Qingjie. What brings you here?" Chun Xiao inquired, glancing at the 3 men, who wore expressions of innocent bewilderment, indicating they were equally perplexed by the situation. Yan Bingqin explained, "Stop guessing. I came to visit Uncle Xiong." and he casually mentioned your arrival in Shishu. The group suddenly understood the connection. Well, Qinjie, it truly is a coincidence that we meet here in Shufu, Zhang Meng remarked with a smile. Yin Bingqin rolled her eyes, retorting, you wouldn't even know how to flatter properly. Uncle Xiong told me which hotel you all are staying at. Otherwise, it would be quite a stroke of luck to run into you. Originally, the three men had intended to flirt with women at the bar, but with Yin Bingqin's presence, they transformed into bashful schoolboys. With Chun Xiao around, they felt a bit more at ease as he could shoulder the situation. Ling Ye, you didn't come to Shufu just for drinks, did you? Chun Xiao asked. Of course not. I have something important to discuss with you, especially you, she replied. Oh, what is it? Chun Xiao inquired further. Yin Bingqin glanced around cautiously. It's not suitable to discuss here. Let's talk in the hotel later. Then shall we go? He suggested. Not in a hurry. I've just arrived. Let's have a few drinks first, she insisted. The midnight bar was a dreamlike realm. Without a doubt, Yin Bingqin was the most striking figure in the establishment, with her fiery red lips and graceful silhouette capturing the attention of many. However, among the four young men before her, three appeared somewhat timid, while the remaining one bore an expression of helplessness. After a while, Yin Bingqin set down her glass, her enchanting eyes playfully rolling. This is dull. One wouldn't block in three fools. I'm leaving. With that, the four followed her out of the bar, her low-cut, form-fitting dress accentuating her stunning figure, causing a ripple of admiration among the onlookers. Tang Xiaofei and the others hung their heads, too shy to gaze upon her, while Chun Xiao openly appreciated her beauty. This rose was exceptionally vibrant, yet who could fathom the formidable strength concealed within her delicate form? Upon returning to the hotel, Yin Bingqin stated earnestly, the reason for my visit is to discuss the expansion of our real estate company, aiming to grow beyond just the development area. The group was momentarily taken aback. For Tang Xiaofei, Zhang Meng, and Xiong Xiao, the prospect of Yin Bingqin wanting to collaborate was immensely appealing, as her resources far surpassed theirs. All right, Qinjie, I agree, they chimed in. However, Yin Bingqin paid them no mind, her focus solely on Chun Xiao. Awaiting his response, Chun Xiao did not rush to reply. The land in the Jinning development area was merely a casual venture for him. Let me think it over. If I don't get to sleep soon, dawn will break. With that, he opened the door and returned to his room. After a series of intense battles, Chun Xiao felt a wave of fatigue wash over him. Without even taking a shower, he collapsed onto his bed. However, mere minutes later, a knock echoed through the room, abruptly pulling him back from the brink of slumber. Who could it be? He opened the door to find Yin Bingqin leaning casually against the doorframe, her arms crossed, accentuating her alluring figure. Qinjie, what do you want? With a gentle push from her delicate hand on his chest, she stepped inside and closed the door behind her. Chun Xiao was at a loss for words. It was the dead of night, and here they were, a lone man and woman. With her dressed provocatively, was she testing his resolve? I mentioned that some matters are not suitable for discussion, he protested. But you were just speaking in the hotel, weren't you? Yin Bingqin countered, shaking her head. No, there are still some things I wish to discuss privately with you. Then please go ahead, Chun Xiao replied, feigning interest. Yin Bingqin smiled and settled on the edge of the bed. Do you know why I suddenly wish to develop the real estate company? Chun Xiao shrugged. How would I know? With a deep sigh, Yin Bingqin remarked, you ungrateful little wretch. I'm considering this for your sake, yet you always regard me with suspicion. Chun Xiao merely pursed his lips in silence. Yin Bingqin continued, what I'm about to reveal pertains to the significant economic trends expected over the next decade. I gathered this information while accompanying my father to meet influential figures recently. Normally, I wouldn't divulge such matters to anyone, but you are the exception. Chun Xiao's drowsiness began to dissipate. He was eager to learn about the insights possessed by someone of Jin Ning's wealth and status. He feigned enthusiasm. I am truly honored. Yin Bingqin added, once I share this with you, regardless of whether you believe it or not, you must not disclose it to anyone else. Chun Xiao nodded, I still possess some credibility. With anticipation, he awaited her revelation, and, at last, Yin Bingqin parted her crimson lips to unveil the crucial trend of times. The real estate industry is poised to enter a phase of explosive growth in the coming years. After a prolonged wait, Chun Xiao could only ask, is that it? Yin Bingqin stared at him incredulously. Do you have any idea how vast that market will be? With a resigned expression, he replied, all right, you may leave now. I need to sleep. Yin Bingqin, puzzled by his nonchalance, wondered why he didn't seem to value such crucial information. Did he not believe her? In truth, Chun Xiao was not skeptical. Rather, he was acutely aware of the trends, perhaps even more so than she could fathom. He had a rough estimate of how high property prices could soar in major cities. Nonetheless, he felt grateful that Yin Bingqin had shared this news, for neither she nor anyone else could have predicted the impending madness of future real estate prices. Do you not believe me? Yin Bingqin inquired. Chun Xiao shook his head. No, I believe you, but I'm extremely tired and need to sleep now, sister. Yin Bingqin retorted. You can still sleep after believing me? I travel thousands of kilometers specifically to tell you this. And you say you want to sleep? Ah, let go of me, you scoundrel. Put me down. Chun Xiao, weary of idle chatter, swiftly approached and lifted Yin Bingqin, unceremoniously tossing her out the door with a resounding thud. As the door slammed shut, Yin Bingqin, her face flushed with embarrassment, finally grasped the situation, having forgotten to exert any force in retaliation. You scoundrel! How dare you throw me out? The sounds of locks clicking echoed from the 3 adjacent rooms as Yin Bingqin, fuming, stamped her foot and turned back inside. Chun Xiao exhaled a long sigh of relief. Reclining once more on the bed, a slight smirk gracing his lips. This girl, Yin Bingqin, who had betrayed her own father for him, placed such unwavering trust in his capabilities. Or perhaps she found herself at an impasse, requiring his investment? Regardless of the reason, after enduring numerous battles, Chun Xiao's eyelids grew heavy and finally succumbed to slumber. As the days passed, thoughts of wealth and opportunity flooded his mind. He contemplated the vast avenues available for profit, feeling no urgency to rush. His reflections, however, extended beyond real estate. He pondered whether to strategically position himself for future global influence, especially considering the frustrations he had endured from the chip industry in his past life. Drifting into a deep dream, he envisioned acquiring Asmir, subsequently retaliating against the Eagle country and its Western allies. The following day, Chun Xiao awoke to the ringing of a phone. Hello, Chun Xiao, are you still asleep? How can you sleep longer than I do? What time is it? It's 11 o'clock. Hurry up and get out of bed for breakfast. Chun Xiao chuckled. Have you prepared the meal? Shall I come over to your house? Summer Yudi pouted adorably. Come if you dare, but don't blame me if I retaliate. Huh, I'm not afraid. Just wait for me. I'm on my way. Wait, don't come. Summer Yudi immediately backtracked. Let me find an opportunity to take you out for a meal. Amused, Chun Xiao inquired. We're heading to the Tibetan region tomorrow. Would you care to join us? At the mention of this, Summer Yudi's face soured with frustration. Oh, my father is so irritating, insisting on taking me to the grasslands and not allowing me to venture out alone. Yudi, did you call me? A voice resonated from the other end, belonging to Summer Linen. Yes, dear father. I want ice cream. Please go downstairs and buy some for me. Summer Linen was powerless against his daughter's pleading and promptly replied, All right, my dear. Just wait a moment, and don't let your mother find out. Okay. After dispatching Summer Linen, Summer Yudi continued, Chun Xiao, I truly cannot go this time. Enjoy yourself, and please stay safe. Rest assured, we have bodyguards with us. Good. And remember to think of me. Of course. The two conversed a while longer before reluctantly ending the call. Embracing a plush toy, Summer Yudi felt a wave of discontent wash over her, losing interest in the trip to the grasslands. Before long, Summer Linen returned with the ice cream. Here you go. My dear, sneakily enjoy it in your room. Your mother forbids you from eating cold treats. Summer Yudi called out, Mom, Dad bought you ice cream. You little rascal. My dear wife, let me explain. Today, Chun Xiao and his companions focused on inspecting the vehicles, replenishing supplies, and making final preparations for their departure. In this era, traversing the 318 is far from a simple endeavor. The proportion of bumpy roads is significantly greater than that of later times. To embark on a self-driving journey along the 318 entails not merely financial and temporal considerations, but also a considerable amount of courage. Yin Bingqin, fortunate today to be free from pestering Chun Xiao, sulks quietly in a corner. However, she is equipped with an off-road vehicle akin to those of several others, seemingly intent on accompanying them to the holy city. Zhang Meng is currently crouched down, inspecting her vehicle. Tang Xiaofei and his companions keep their distance, only to approach and inquire. Xiaozi, something seems off with Sister Qin's mood. Chun Xiao chuckles. It's nothing. She'll be fine shortly. After a moment of contemplation, Tang Xiaofei and Xiong Chao decide against further questioning. The tumultuous relationship between Yin Bingqin and Chun Xiao is one they prefer to avoid meddling in. Yesterday, Chun Xiao was overly fatigued to ponder matters regarding real estate. Reflecting upon it today, he realizes that delving into real estate is no trivial task. Setting aside the complexities of local connections, the sheer volume of convoluted procedures and standards is enough to induce a headache. Were he to undertake the endeavor alone, he would undoubtedly refrain. No matter how lucrative, it pales in comparison to the financial markets, especially the international financial arena. However, if someone else were to do the work, that would be a different matter entirely. Yet, there is one stipulation for Chun Xiao regarding the collaboration to establish a real estate company. He must be the majority shareholder, securing at least a 51 controlling stake, if not an absolute 67 ownership. Chapter 169. I have plenty of girlfriends. Given his current financial capabilities, achieving absolute control poses a significant challenge. Nevertheless, he remains unperturbed, knowing that he can gradually increase his stake over time. He is confident that, including Yin Bingqin, no one can surpass him in terms of cash reserves. Once his thoughts are organized, Chun Xiao calls out with a smile, "Hey, Sister Qin, would you care to discuss the collaboration for establishing a real estate company?" Tang Xiaofei and the others exclaim, "Amazing! When can we have a chance to feed Sister Qin some words? Isn't that simple? Just cut off a leg, and I believe it would suffice. Get lost." Yin Bingqin takes a few deep breaths. She feels her pride, built over 2 decades, being gradually crushed since meeting Chun Xiao. "What is this? Aren't you uninterested?" Chun Xiao responds with a grin. "It's not that I'm disinterested. I was simply too tired yesterday. There are no girls from Shishu here. What are you tired from?" "Ah, you've actually misspoken," Yin Bingqin retorts, deciding to return to the matter at hand. "You all come over here." Tang Xiaofei and Xiong Chao scamper over eagerly, while Zhang Ming emerges from beneath the vehicle. Yin Bingqin states, "Don't say I'm not looking out for you. This is a long-term investment project. I only intend to take the 3 of you along. So think carefully and prepare your funds." Tang Xiaofei pounds his chest, declaring, "Sister Qin, my father set aside several hundred million, just waiting for your go-ahead. My father also reserved some funds, stating that if I don't invest alongside Sister Qin, he'll keep it for retirement." Zhang Ming adds. Xiong Chao mentions, "I'll sell property upon returning to quickly gather the funds." They all understand that his family's Jining construction recently faced a liquidity issue. Yin Bingqin nods. "All right then, after we return, we'll establish a new company and determine our respective shares. Please indicate how much you each can contribute." Tang Xiaofei, 500 million. Zhang Ming, 400 million. Xiong Chao, 5 billion. The 4 individuals turned their gaze towards Chun Xiao. "Chun Xiao, I shall first secure 5 billion. After all, it is not as if we are paying immediately. Let's confirm the shares first." The others. Yin Bingqin was momentarily taken aback. The maximum liquidity she could currently provide was only 3 billion, and it would require time. "I will contribute 3 billion, but I request the option to inject further capital later." Chun Xiao felt a surge of joy within. He truly wished to marry Yin Bingqin on the spot. This girl was simply too considerate. Even before he mentioned the possibility of further investment, she had already anticipated his needs. "I concur." Chun Xiao was the first to agree. The concerns raised by the 2 major shareholders left the other 3 minor shareholders with no grounds for rebuttal. Together, the 5 would initiate a capital of 91.5 billion. In the realm of nascent real estate companies of this era, this was not merely strong, it was unparalleled. With nearly 10 billion in initial capital, if one could not leverage several hundred billion in real estate projects, they were unworthy of the title of a real estate company. Yin Bingqin continued, "Upon preliminary calculations, Chun Xiao would hold 54. 65, I would hold 32. 78, Tang Xiaofei 5. 46, Zhang Ming 4. 37, and Xiong Chao 2. 73. In business dealings, emotions are set aside. Everything is accounted for." The others had no objections. The finer details were not suitable for discussion at this moment. A professional legal team would be required to delineate those. As for the company's operational strategy, the 3 minor shareholders held no decision-making power. Yin Bingqin and Chun Xiao each had their own visions, though Yin Bingqin chose not to express hers. Chun Xiao, too, refrained from sharing. He was currently perceived as a titan in finance, yet a novice in real estate. To speak of developments in the real estate sector would likely fail to inspire confidence. There is no point in voicing his thoughts now. Should disputes arise, it might jeopardize the mood for their forthcoming journey. It would be wiser to increase his stake to 67 before the company's official establishment, and then proceed according to his own vision. Pursuing a path that combined commercial complexes with residential projects, mirroring past experiences. Once he secured absolute control, matters would become straightforward. The others could act according to their own desires. Dissent would be futile, given that he held a veto power. The trio of Tang Xiaofei experienced a mix of emotions during this venture. Their joy stemmed from aligning with the formidable Yin Bingqin and Chen Xiao. However, their dismay arose from Yin Bingqin's presence, which effectively dashed their plans for romantic escapades. The following day, July 11th, Friday, marked the last trading day of the week and the day Chen Xiao and his companions set off. The stocks of Daon Group in his possession had reached 2 billion, and with 6 trading days remaining until the information alert of the 19th, he anticipated that the 41 billion would be entirely expended, paving the way for a retaliatory rebound. Yin Bingqin briefly speculated that Chen Xiao might be involved in Daon Group's market movements. However, now that he was en route, she dismissed that notion. Today, Yin Bingqin donned an outdoor ensemble: white athletic shoes, light gray form-fitting quick-dry pants, a pink waist-cinching windbreaker, complemented by a cap and oversized sunglasses. Her complexion was as fair as snow, with fiery red lips. Tall and statuesque, her graceful figure was accentuated by long legs. Firm and alluring due to her commitment to fitness. From the captivating beauty reminiscent of a snow-capped mountain to the alluring charm of an outdoor enthusiast, Yin Bingqin's stunning allure is undeniably breathtaking, a fact that even Chen Xiao must concede. However, this exquisite rose is not easily plucked. The journey was initially planned with each person driving their own vehicle. Yet, just before departure, Tang Xiaofei proposed that he drive, allowing the group to share a car for the sake of conversation, while the other vehicles would be manned by bodyguards. The group acquiesced to his suggestion without objection. Aware that her presence might inhibit Tang Xiaofei and the others, Yin Bingqin decided to let her bodyguard, Zhang Yuan, take the wheel while she occupied the passenger seat. This arrangement facilitated a more open dialogue among the boys, as there are certain topics that are best kept from female ears. Thus, the entourage of 5 professional off-road vehicles embark upon the breathtaking 318 highway, the historical path of the T-Horse Road. The scenery along the way was enchanting, with majestic mountains and idyllic landscapes. Their first stop was Kongding, situated at an altitude of 700 meters, where they experienced no immediate symptoms of altitude sickness. Along the route, they encountered numerous beautiful prayer flags and the swift-flowing Zhiduo River, which meandered through the town, flanked by buildings rich in ethnic character. The sights inevitably reminded Chen Xiao of the famous song, the melodious Kongding, the melodious love song. Throughout the journey, Yin Bingqin shed her corporate persona, embodying the enthusiasm of a young girl who couldn't help but exclaim with delight at every picturesque spot. Tang Xiaofei and the others took turns capturing her moments on camera, while Chen Xiao relished the opportunity to enjoy the scenery in solitude. As he glanced back, he noticed a Mercedes-Benz 500 parked at the roadside. Its window rolled down to reveal a pale-faced, middle-aged man in the passenger seat. "Young man, do you have an oxygen tank?" Chen Xiao chuckled inwardly, thinking at just 700 meters. How could one be so affected? "Yes, just a moment," he replied, moving to one of the vehicles, opening the trunk filled with oxygen tanks, and retrieving a box to present to the man. The middle-aged gentleman's eyes lit up with gratitude. "Thank you. I truly appreciate this. How much do I owe you?" This box of 10 oxygen tanks was worth just over 100 yuan, and Chen Xiao, not wishing to complicate matters, replied, "No worries when you're out here. One encounters difficulties. Consider it a gift." The middle-aged woman driving, elegant and composed, with an air of scholarly grace, chimed in with a smile. "See, I told you this young man is handsome and kind-hearted." After inhaling a couple of breaths of oxygen, the man regained some strength and jokingly remarked, "Not to brag, but in my prime, I could rival your good looks." Chen Xiao found the exchange quite amusing. The refined woman continued, "Come now, young man, share your number. I'll arrange a blind date with my daughter." The man's expression shifted dramatically. "No way. My little cotton-padded jacket." The woman shot him a sidelong glance. "What? Are you going to keep her all to yourself and never let her marry?" Chen Xiao, entertained by their playful banter, politely declined the offer. "Thank you for your kindness, but I assure you, I have plenty of girlfriends and do not require a blind date. Wishing you both a pleasant journey." With that, he waved and rejoined his companions for the photo session. Only 2 bewildered faces remained. Chapter 170, a sudden turn in the journey. Inside the car, a middle-aged woman gave a slight shove to the man. "Old Lu, did you really think I would be satisfied with just any car? After driving for thousands of kilometers, you couldn't even find a suitable son-in-law." Lu Xingxian looked aggrieved. "Our car, although not expensive, is worth over 2 million. It's far superior to what those young men drive. This isn't merely about the car. What kind of obsession do you have with finding a son-in-law along the Sichuan-Tibet route?" Tian Schumann cast him a disdainful glance and retorted, "The boys along the Sichuan-Tibet line are all courageous and passionate. Besides, you've been dodging my invitation to accompany me on the 318 route for years. If we don't go now, we'll grow too old to travel. Lu Xingchen sighed. All right, I'll accompany you. You are my priority. Much better, she replied. Chun Xiao paid little heed to this minor squabble, quickly forgetting it as he immersed himself in the beauty of the scenery and the charm of the women. As they enjoyed themselves, Tang Xiaofei and his companions appeared less formal with Yan Bingqin, creating a surprisingly harmonious atmosphere. Ultimately, they had grown up together, forming an extraordinary bond. Along the way, the three naturally trailed behind Yan Bingqin, indulging in her generosity. Chun Xiao chuckled, finding it rather amusing. Who would have thought that these seemingly close-knit companions would transform into shrewd business people the moment business was discussed? He realized there was much to learn from this affluent crowd. It must be said that this mode of interaction was widely accepted and seamlessly integrated into their dynamic, proving highly effective. Leisure was leisure, and business was business. Everything was distinctly separated. The next day, they arrived in Zendukyo, often referred to as a photographer's paradise, a realm of light and shadow, presenting a picturesque utopia. Here lay a Tibetan village rich in ethnic character. On the distant hill, yaks and goats dotted the landscape, while a meandering stream shimmered with phosphorescence, and farther still, the majestic Gongga, snow mountain soared into the heavens. Yet, at an altitude of 300 meters, both Xiong Chao and Zhang Meng experienced altitude sickness. Fortunately, a trunk full of oxygen tanks alleviated their discomfort. Each took a tank, inhaling intermittently to barely keep pace with the group. Next, they ventured to Daoqing Yading and Litong. Without the company of his own sister, Chun Xiao dedicated himself entirely to appreciating the stunning vistas. Occasionally, he savored the gentle care from the CEO, feeling less guarded than before. Since their departure, no one had broached business matters. As long as they avoided such discussions, Chun Xiao did not mind a little playful advantage. After all, it wouldn't cost much. The group did not carry the airs of second-generation elites, but instead, like most self-driving travelers, immersed themselves in a profound experience of their journey. After 3 days of arduous travel, even the frequently active Chun Xiao and the agile Yan Bingqin felt a tinge of fatigue. 5 of them shared a single vehicle, with Tang Xiaofei at the wheel, Yan Bingqin in the passenger seat, and the remaining 3 squeezed into the back, casually discussing amusing anecdotes and the scenic beauty along the way. The journey from Hong to Zhuogong has become considerably more arduous than before. The rugged mountain path is riddled with potholes. One side is a sheer cliff, while the other presents a dizzying drop. To exacerbate the situation, a light rain has rendered the road even more treacherous. In certain areas, the passage of 2 vehicles feels akin to dancing on the precipice of a cliff. The convoy progresses in fits and starts, swaying unsteadily. The formation has been disrupted by errant drivers, yet thanks to the walkie-talkies, they are aware that the distances between them are not extensive, merely a matter of a few dozen kilometers. Once they navigate through this treacherous stretch, they shall soon regroup. Goodness. Tang, don't veer too close to the edge. I turn my head and it's just the abyss. Frightening. Zhang Meng exclaimed from the far right of the back seat. What's the fuss? Are you afraid of mere feathers? Do you not understand my driving skills? Tang Xiaofei retorted, his confidence unwavering. Indeed, as steady as an old dog. Chimed Xiong Chao. But Tang, do try not to sway. Tang Xiaofei, momentarily a loss for words, protested. Where am I swaying? Just as he uttered this, he too felt the vehicle shake. Yet, it was evident that a large truck ahead had come to a standstill, and their own vehicle was unmoving. Suddenly, a sharp crack echoed as a stone plummeted from above, striking the sunroof and leaving a crack in its wake. The expressions of the group shifted dramatically. This is bad. Could it be an earthquake? Yan Bingqin, peering through the windshield, spoke with a chilling tremor in her voice. A landslide. Indeed, they observed a considerable amount of debris cascading downwards not far ahead. Oh no, Xiong Chao exclaimed, reaching for the door, but Yan Bingqin commanded, stay put. Can you evade danger by getting out? The roads ahead and behind are blocked. It's safer in the vehicle. Terror-stricken, Xiong Chao complied and closed the door, his hands trembling uncontrollably. Chun Xiao, feeling equally exasperated, thought to himself how unfortunate their circumstances had become. As it turned out, Yan Bingqin's assessment was accurate. They were occasionally pelted by falling stones. The driver of the large truck ahead had been struck by a rock the size of a fist, resulting in a grievous injury, leaving him unconscious on the ground. Their off-road vehicle had also endured several impacts. Sheen, what should we do? Tang Xiaofei was at a loss. Yin Bingqin maintained her composure, urging, "Do not panic. At this point, it's a matter of fate. If we are to perish, let us face it together without fear." Chun Xiao was taken aback by this unexpected side of her, a blend of fear and surprise coursing through him. With a resounding crash, a large rock struck the vehicle's pillar, shattering the glass on the driver's side and rendering the walkie-talkie, which hung from the left of the steering wheel, inoperative. Tang Xiaofei screamed in terror as his arm was lacerated, the pillar now warped. Most alarmingly, their vehicle had shifted perilously close to the cliff's edge. "Do not move." Yin Bingqin was the first to sense the precariousness of their situation. Her warning alerted the others to the fact that one of the wheels was now dangling in midair. The atmosphere instantly grew tense. "Shift your weight to the left and slowly open the door to stabilize the vehicle," Chun Xiao suggested. Yin Bingqin did not contest this. The car could no longer provide sanctuary, but had instead become a site of peril. Xiong Chao cautiously opened the door and descended first, then grasped the door for stability. As Chun Xiao and Zhang Ming shifted their weight to the left, the vehicle stabilized somewhat. Yin Bingqin then climbed over from the passenger seat and exited through the back door. At last, it was Tang Xiaofei, whose driver's side door had been crushed and could not be opened. He had to recline the seat and crawl out from the back. Throughout the ordeal, the group felt immense fear, yet they maintained their composure. Once Tang Xiaofei emerged, they finally released their grip on the vehicle. "Quick, gather the supplies." Chun Xiao rushed to the trunk, swiftly opened the door, and tossed out all the food and water, followed by the thick jackets they had brought. Just as he was about to retrieve the oxygen tanks, a loud bang resonated as the entire vehicle jolted violently. Chun Xiao felt someone tugging at him from behind, and he watched helplessly as the SUV was struck by a large rock and plummeted off the cliff. A wave of dread washed over him. Had he been caught by the vehicle, he would have gone down with it. Turning around, he saw that it was Yin Bingqin who had dragged him from the trunk. "Thank you," he stammered. Yin Bingqin, her delicate face pale with fright, waved her hand dismissively. "There is no need for thanks. If you hadn't risked your life to retrieve those supplies, we would all freeze to death on this plateau," she replied. Now is not the time for pleasantries. Chun Xiao urged, "Quickly, put on your jackets to prevent hypothermia." The group hastily dragged all their belongings closer to the roadside under the large truck to avoid falling debris. Fortunately, their jackets were double-layered, with an insulated inner layer and an outer layer that repelled rain and wind. Once donned, they felt significantly warmer. The continuous barrage of falling rocks struck the truck, creating a cacophony of clattering sounds. They could only pray that their current position would not succumb to a major landslide. Suddenly, a thunderous roar echoed from a distance as a section of the mountain began to slowly sink. The truck driver leaped from the cab, exclaiming, "It's over. We're surrounded by landslides." The group felt a chill upon hearing this news. Situated deep in the mountains, if multiple landslides occurred, how long would it take for rescue to arrive? Given the multitude of people and vehicles on this route, how many casualties could there be? Chun Xiao inquired, "Driver, do you know the nearest village?" The closest village lies over the mountain ahead, and then 2 more beyond that, over 30 kilometers away," the driver replied. Chun Xiao was at a loss for words. Over 30 kilometers on flat terrain was already daunting, let alone traversing mountain ranges at an altitude exceeding 4,000 meters. "Don't think about it, young man. Just wait for rescue. There is no way out," the driver added. The landslide continued for nearly 10 minutes before gradually quieting down. Chun Xiao and his companions considered themselves fortunate. Although the vehicle had been sent tumbling down the cliff, they had escaped with minor injuries. Not far ahead, they witnessed several vehicles, along with their occupants, being engulfed by the landslide. Survivors were either searching for signals or sorting through supplies. However, those traveling in their own vehicles could carry only a limited amount of supplies, and with the signal tower having collapsed, they were entirely cut off from the outside world. At that moment, a woman emerged from a nearby vehicle, panic-stricken as she cried out, "Does anyone have oxygen? Who has oxygen?" Chun Xiao had 2 bottles in his backpack, yet he remained silent. Zhang Ming and Xiong Chao should at least have a bottle in their bags, yet neither of them uttered a word. In this critical moment of life and death, a minor gesture could prove beneficial, but the survival supplies one requires will undoubtedly not be relinquished easily to unrelated individuals. The woman, after surveying the group and finding no one responsive, pulled out 200 yuan, declaring,